Hi, I'm going to read from Coming of Age at the End of Days, which is my book coming out. It's probably going to be early 2014 from Grove Atlantic. And I'm going to just tell you a little bit about it so you're not too confused. And I'm just going to read a tiny little bit. But it's about a 17-year-old girl who becomes enamored with a doomsday cult and kind of decides she's going to help them bring about the end of the world by helping them fulfill some prophecies. So this is based actually on a true story that I read in the New Yorker probably about 10 years ago, where there's a significant, not insignificant number of people in this country who would love the end of the world to come faster because then they can meet Jesus sooner.
Jesus!
And oddly enough, one of their prophecies that has to be fulfilled is in Israel, the temple has to be rebuilt on the Temple Mount, which is this hill overlooking Jerusalem. Well, interestingly enough, in Israel, there are some fundamentalist Jews who want their Messiah to come, and they also have to build the temple on the Temple Mount before their Messiah will come. So we've got this convergence going on. But before they can build on the Temple Mount, they have to sacrifice a pure red calf. Otherwise, they won't be pure enough to enter the sacred space and take over the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount happens to be also very sacred to Muslims, so there's a little problem there. So, because of this convergence, we've got some Christian farmers in Nebraska who are actually breeding red cows, sending the embryos over to Jerusalem, having them implanted in Israeli cows, and birthing them over there. And they're getting close to having a pure red cow, but they haven't gotten there yet. So I was just fascinated by this, and wrote this book. Anna dreamt of the red calf again last night. In the dream, the red calf is moving carefully, even delicately, through the aisles of the Walgreens on El Camino, past the diapers, the Benadryl, and the deodorant, examining the wares with its large, wet eyes. A value shopper. People walk past it as if a brilliantly hued bovine in a suburban drugstore is the most natural thing in the world. But of course, nothing about the red calf is natural, from its color to its fleshy frame down to its sex. Everything has been designed to specification. Nothing left to chance. Nothing much happens in this part of the dream. Anna guesses that's kind of the point. The red calf is simply accepted. No one questions its presence in the store, much less its right to exist at all, except her. She follows the red calf as it ambles out the automatic doors into the blinding California sun. She feels responsible. If she can just keep it in sight, prevent it from falling into the wrong hands, the hands that would do it and the world grievous harm. But somehow she loses the calf in the parking lot. She searches, increasingly frantic. Where did it go? Certainly not out onto the street. The vehicles whistling by would have quickly put an end to it. Anna finds herself thinking that would, in fact, be a good thing. It's not that she wishes the red calf ill. It's not to blame. It has been engineered for this purpose, to bring an end to all things. But she hears no screeching of brakes, no blaring of horns. The calf has vanished. Then suddenly, only silence. Traffic ceases. Cars freeze, line up, empty, bumper to bumper, in every direction, although the traffic lights continue to cycle through greens, yellows, and reds. The cars are empty. No humans inhabit this landscape any longer. Clearly, Anna has failed, and she is full of woe, despite knowing it's all for the best, despite knowing that everything was foretold. She wakes up in tears because she must accept responsibility, because deep down she's one of them, a true believer. I'm going to read one more little section. That last bit was the rapture, where the godly get taken up for heaven. Anna lived back then in Sunnyvale, California, in a housing development built in the 60s, the subdivision having supplanted a citrus grove in the middle of what was then called the Valley of Heart's Delight. The first tendrils of an invasive species taking root, the foundation for the silicon barracks that would soon obliterate the fields and orchards. Anna's street contains 25 houses, but just 4 house models: a rancher, a colonial, a Cape Cod, and a split level. Over the years, people have remodeled, added decks and landscaping, enlarged the windows, and remodeled garages, but the skeletons of the original structures remain. A light goes upstairs in the house across the street, the mirror image of Anna's own, and she knows that Jamie Poole, 13 years old, has taken refuge in the bathroom to avoid the squalling of her newborn twin brothers. If the hall light on the bottom floor of the split level next door to the right is suddenly illuminated, Mr. Johnson is helping Mrs. Johnson to the master bedroom after she's enjoyed one scotch too many. The Sunnyvale, California post office knows Anna's street as the Street of Children's Names. A year before Anna was born, the city dug up and re-poured the sidewalks, which of course tempted all the neighborhood children to carve their names in the still wet concrete. After their handiwork was smoothed over by the irate contractor, they made a pact to sneak out that night and re-vandalize the soft gray squares, only this time on a grander scale. Today their names are writ large up and down the street, a bit weathered but still visible, each letter taking up an entire pavement panel. And over the years, I'm sorry, the light is so bad, I'm having trouble reading. The residents came to call the houses by the children's names out front rather than their numerical addresses. Anna, with her mother and father, live in Sarah. The Goldschmidts live in Caris. Jim Fulson, the only child of that epic night still living on the street, can be found across the street in Caroline. The foul Hendersons next door to him in Clare. At night you see the bluish glow of television from every family room of every home up and down the street, all except one, the Goldsmiths next door to the left in Caris. Because Anna babysits for all these families, she knows where to find the Oreos and the potato chips, knows how to restock the Diet Cokes from the shelves in the garage, knows where the fathers hide their Playboys and penthouses. The community possesses few secrets, no mysteries. Except for the Goldschmidts, Lars, his mother and father, they were different from the beginning. For starters, they brought so little with him. They didn't even have a moving van. Instead, a caravan of motley vehicles, older Volkswagen vans, battered pickup trucks, and a host of subcontract cars manufactured last decade, pulled up and spit out furniture and lamps and boxes of kitchen stuff onto the lawn. Church friends of the family helping with the move. Many of these things sat for days before gradually being hauled inside. Neighbors were intimate with the Goldsmiths' possessions long before meeting them. Salvation Army quality mismatched chairs and plastic tables, mattresses, but as far as the neighbors could tell, no bed frames. Did they sleep on mattresses on the floor? They did. One couch, no recliners. Did they have sufficient furnishings for both the living room and the family room? They didn't. They hadn't bothered to pack their clothes. They possessed so few they had just thrown them in the back of their own Civic. The wardrobes of 3 people wouldn't even fill a single bedroom closet. No curtains. They simply pinned up bedroom sheets. It must have been dark and stuffy in the house. It was. Even before meeting them, the neighbors knew something else was wrong. No sign of a television. You could see the glow of lamps through the sheets follow the shadows of Lars and his parents as they moved from one room to the next. They turned their lights off early, before 9 p.m., and then on again early when it was still dark, before anyone else on the street was awake. Except Anna, of course. She ghosts in the early morning. For more than a year now, no respite. Up at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, too agitated to lie in bed or even sit. and uncalm insomnia. Her mother tries everything, chamomile tea, hot milk, even pills. These Anna flushes down the toilet. But it wasn't until she met the Goldschmidts that she understood her role to bear witness to the death of each successive night, to greet the arrival of each new day, to prepare for the pain that inevitably follows. Praise the Lord.